Andrew Mercer. What's up, guys? This is the first episode of the year 2022. If you're a returning listener, thank you for taking the journey with me. If you are a new listener, welcome aboard. We are Headbangers at the Hangar, the best podcast out there that talks exclusively about all things heavy metal and alien UFO related. We are the only metal alien fusion podcast out there, so by default we are the best heavy metal alien fusion podcast out there. What's up? Very, very excited for this episode, the first of the year. In terms of music, 2021 for Headbangers at the Hangar, it was a new show. So I am calling the year 2021 the show's EP. For 2022, we're going to tighten it up, okay? It's going to look better visually for all you guys who like to see the video. It's just going to be a more solid product. This is going to be the album version, you know, like the EP, it gives you a little taste, 3-4 songs. The studio album is more polished, get like 12 good tracks, about 45 minutes. That's what this is, you know. The first couple episodes, we had some really great guests, some really great content on there. We're going to tighten it up moving forward. Like I said, visually, it's going to be more engaging. You're going to be able to see all the Zoom interviews, okay? Not just pictures like it was before, like slideshow. You're gonna see it all, okay? I did feel bad. The last episode I did of 2022, I had Michael Delgado on, the cat expert, it was a really good episode. If you want to check that out, just go through the YouTube page, you'll find it. And she was great, you know. But I did feel bad because she came onto the show, did the Zoom interview with a cat t-shirt on. Because we were talking about cats, all things cats. Because who doesn't love cats? If you don't love cats, then, you know, just, I guess, don't subscribe. But, you know, I felt bad because the Zoom recording was grainy, pixelated, not usable, you know. And I didn't have everything set up so that we could record the Zoom videos and it would come out looking up to par. So, you know, I decided with the time I took off was about a week and a half, really make some progress with the show technically. So every Zoom interview, you'll see it, okay? Even when I'm highlighting music or introducing the person I'm going to be speaking with, you're going to be able to see stuff. For example, we have a great guest this episode, Donte Montgomery. He is a music reviewer. He is also in a band called StormToker. We'll get to more of that later. But I'm going to play some music by them in just a few minutes, and I'll be able to attach the YouTube video for it, the music video. So very cool. On the business side of things, I am going into the year 2022 as a free agent. I have no sponsors at the moment. Any sponsor that I did have in 2021, we've mutually decided to part ways. I'm a free agent. If you want to sponsor the show, maybe you own a deli, a gym, you're an artist promoting a single, promoting an album, throw me $10, throw me $20. You're a sponsor. All right? Anybody who wants to sponsor the show, hit me up, shoot me an email, headbangersatthehangar@gmail.com. As always, hangar is spelled Hangar. That's for all you metalheads out there, because we know a lot of you didn't even graduate from high school. But, you know, with that, anybody who wants to email the show, okay, you can email me if you want to be a guest. You can email me if you want to recommend a guest. You can email me if you want to talk about a certain topic, whether a new album just dropped and you want me to review it, or you want to talk about a recent UFO sighting. Send an email over to the show. I will read it. I will most definitely respond to it on the show here. I'll shout you out. If you participate, I will get back to you and I will include you. I am a very, very big fan of all the listeners out there. With that being said, I just want to wish everybody out there good health. Stay safe. Okay, this is not a political show. It will never be a political show. There are plenty of those out there that you could check out. This is not one of them. So this next statement I'm about to make, I have no political leaning as it pertains to this show. I want everybody to stay safe from the coronavirus, and I want to thank all of the healthcare workers out there, front line, back line. You guys are busting your ass. I know it's crazy out there. Just to get a test, it's overrun. I know that from personal experience. Everybody, stay safe. Thank your healthcare workers. The Omicron is going around like crazy. Okay, no matter what side you're on, you cannot deny that people are catching it. All right, so there's a lot of chaos out there. Stay calm. If you have to quarantine, check out the Headbangers at the Hangar podcast. And if you like it, pass it on, share it. My mom has the virus right now. Shout out to my mom. She'll be good. She's a warrior. But everybody who has it, if you know somebody that has it, everybody just get better. Okay? Let's get back to normal. That way we can have our favorite bands go on tour. We don't have to worry about things getting canceled. We can go to festivals. Some of you dirtier people, you can go in the mosh pit, you know. And we'll just get things back to the way they were. All right, so what else? So, like I said, visually things are getting more appealing. I am working on a new cover for the show. You guys know that the one I've been using, it has the gentleman standing on the hill with like a light source above his head. Maybe UFO, maybe not. I've reached out to my good friend Max, who's an artist, and he's gonna give me something that's a little bit more visually stunning. Maybe it'll pull in some of the viewers that weren't planning on checking out the show, but they saw it, and maybe they'll give me a click. You know, so we're working on a lot of things over here at Headbangers at the Hangar. So that brings me to my guest for the show. Name is Donte Montgomery. Now he does a bunch of reviews. Does reviews like metal albums, metal singles. It's his review service or site. It's called the Heavy Haystack. Now I found him on TikTok. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram. He's on all that stuff. Super smart dude. As I've mentioned on the show before, I have a very hard time getting into some of the newer metal stuff. Like new metal bands, whatever is being put out there. I really have a hard time getting into it. I'm stuck in kind of the early 2000s like a lot of you guys are. You got your Slipknots, Korns, Disturbs. That's my thing. So I reached out to Donte so we could put kind of a bow on the year 2021 for metal. You know, we discussed what were some of the best albums of that year, some of the best bands, and he was just really great, man. Very knowledgeable guy. And his band is killer too. StormToker. They're kind of like a, they remind me a lot of High on Fire, if anybody's a High on Fire fan. The band Sleep, like a stoner metal, sludge metal, that kind of thing. So I'm going to play one of their songs right now. This is a single of theirs. It's called Lord Concrete and the Mother Tree. my guy Donte right there, rocking it on the drums. Definitely got that sludgy metal kind of sound. Stoner metal. Vocals right there. Alright, that's good for that one. Alright, the next track I'm going to play from StormToker, it's their newest single. This one just came out. It's called Poor Man's Doom. They are, and as Donte will tell you in the interview, these guys are about to head back into the studio. So wishing them the best of luck, and for sure we will stay tuned. Here it is, Poor Man's Doom. Cool logo. These guys are from Kentucky, Lexington, so you could definitely hear that kind of country influence in there. Donte with the Slayer t-shirt.
Ain't no way for a poor man to get ahead.
Clean vocals, very nice.
Work for the factory, can't live off the land. Sold your soul to be the company man. Their greed will be your end.
Wait for the heavy. It's coming.
Where you're born is where you'll die, my friend. Where you're born is where
Definitely a song for the working man. Where you're born is where you'll die, my friend.
Where you're born is where you'll die, my friend. Where you're born is where you'll die, my friend.
Alright, here it comes, here it comes. Black Sabbath. Alright, so that's their newest one. Alright, we're going to get right to the interview. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask all the musicians out there a question. Now, you can answer it in the comments section. Just let me know, okay? So, I'm a musician, as you guys know. I do like the acoustic thing where, you know, I play covers. Just myself singing with my acoustic guitar, 90s, country, you know, classic rock, sometimes metal, but it really depends on the crowd, you know. So I'm playing at this private party. I'm playing from 5 to 7-ish, and after me a gentleman's playing from like 7 to 9. Keep in mind the private party, it was a birthday for, I mean, I don't want to say an older gentleman, but he was older than 40, you know. So it was a Thursday night, 5 p.m. the party starts. I have a young daughter at home. I live about an hour away from where the party was. Thursday night, so I'm supposed to be working Friday. So I bring all my equipment and my, you know, the speaker, the PA, everything, all the wires. I brought it all. So I'm doing this private party. I think I'm playing for 2 hours. I'm almost done with my set. So the second guy shows up 15 minutes before he's supposed to play, right? And he comes up to me, he says, "Hey man, I'm going on after you. Now, do you mind if I use your equipment?" Dude only brought a guitar, only walked in the building 15 minutes before he was supposed to play. So me being a good guy, I'm like, all right, man, you could do it. So the guy's using all my stuff, the speaker, the PA. He's got his own guitar. He did have his own microphone, so which is good because, you know, in these times especially, who knows? But so yeah, I'm like now I'm there 2 hours later than I thought I would be. It's a weeknight. My wife's calling me. I gotta break the news to her that I'm gonna be at this place till 9 o'clock. Probably not gonna be home till almost 10:30. So she's screaming at me on the phone. In the background, my daughter's crying. My wife's screaming at me. I'm like, all right, great. So this guy plays, okay, and he's done. He goes all the way to 9 o'clock. Sees that I'm sitting there all the way till 9. Fine, I can't blame him. Okay, goes all the way to 9. All right. My friend who's hosting the party comes up. She says, oh, thank you very much. He says, oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I had to kind of play and go. So then this dude, keep in mind he just used all my equipment, packs up his guitar, and he leaves. Didn't help me pack. Didn't help me bring any of the equipment to my car that he used. It was a paying gig, so he got paid for it. Did not help me at all. So musicians, is this a foul? Is it a musician's foul? I think it was. I think he should have helped me at least pack and bring the stuff back to my car. After all, he was getting paid. Maybe it wasn't a musician's foul. Maybe I'm just being a little prima donna bitch. I don't know, but in the comments, let me know, was that a musician's foul or not? All right, guys, let's get to the interview with Donte. It was a great interview. Again, thank you to Michael Delgado, the episode before. Thank you very much. If you guys want to check that one out, it's on YouTube, as are all the episodes. Okay? Donte is going to give you all his information at the end of the interview, so make sure you check it out, all you metalheads out there. Just a reminder, I am still looking for a Tik Tok consultant. I've got my foot in the water, but I don't know how good at it I really am. So if you love heavy metal, you know how to navigate through TikTok, send me an email, headbangersatthehangar@gmail.com. You can be my new TikTok consultant, and you can do it for a whole whopping salary of $0 a week. All right, guys, here he is, Donte Montgomery. Hey, Donte, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going quite all right. How you doing this morning?
All right, good. Yeah. Happy New Year. You're the first interview I'm doing for 2022. So, but yeah. Yeah, I wanted to have you on because I know you do a bunch of reviews and stuff. So we'll kind of put a nice bow on what was 2021. So,
nice.
but tell people a little bit about yourself. I know you're a reviewer. You do the heavy Haystack. You're also in a band, StormToker. Let us know what's going on.
Yes, so on YouTube I do heavy metal album reviews mostly, like on different singles and songs at the Heavy Haystack on YouTube. And also I play drums and sing co-lead vocals for the metal band StormToker out of Lexington, Kentucky.
Yep. So when did you start doing the reviews?
Well, I first started doing reviews. I first started doing written reviews back in 2016. That was back when it was just called the Haystack, and I had a website for it. Started doing it on Tumblr. It was when I first started doing reviews back then. Until I started my own website and started sharing it on things like Facebook and Instagram a little bit. But then in the start of 2019, I believe, no, start of 2020 is when I first started doing video reviews on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that video reviews since then, doing like album reviews of different bands and trying to focus more on the video thing, because sadly people don't read too much anymore.
No, yeah, it's all audio based, you know. So you said the first one you did was 2016. Do you remember what the first review was?
Oh man, I remember the first review on a big band. I started off with a lot of like smaller indie and local bands that not many people knew about. But the first sizable band I did a written review on was Royal Blood. I think it was their second album that they had. Things like We're Not All Alone or something like that. Whatever their second album was the first big name review that I did.
Yeah. And so 2020, when you started really ramping it up, was that when the pandemic kind of started hitting?
Actually, so my first video was in 2020 in January, before the pandemic actually got underway.
All right.
It's like I started with a best albums of 2019 video. It was my very first video review that I did, going over like the popular albums of 2019. Like I kind of had a slower review year while I was trying to do the whole switching over to doing videos for stuff. But I remember I just did an overall top 10 of my favorite rock and metal albums from 2019. But things really did get underway once the pandemic started. Started having more time. My band wasn't able to go out and do more stuff and shows. So we wound up, so I started, I think, in the spring, around like April or May, is when I started doing the reviews a lot more regularly on video.
Yeah. So what was the best album of 2019?
For 2019, my top album was Whitechapel's The Valley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Whitechapel's awesome. I was never a big fan of them. Like, I knew they were around, but they that's my daughter in the background. Lamb of God did like a virtual concert because the pandemic, and I remember they had Whitechapel as the opener where they ran one of their older concerts, and I was like, damn, these guys are killing it. Because I'm really not huge into like what you would call like the death metal thing. Like the hardcore growling, I can't get into it so much, but like their music is so solid, and the vocals aren't way too unintelligible, so it works out.
Yeah, that's always been Whitechapel for the whole deathcore thing is a relatively good gateway because Phil Bozeman, their vocalist, like despite being known as like real powerful and deep guttural vocalist, has a lot more clarity to his vocals for someone who's like growling that low.
Yeah, they did a lot of material. They did more clean vocal stuff for that album too.
Yeah,
than they had done in the past.
Yeah, I remember on their album before that one, Mark of the Blade, I think it's Mark of the Blade. They had like 2 songs that had melodic vocals when they first did it. Then the Valley, they got a lot more comfortable with it, and even more so with their album that came out this past year, Ken.
Yeah.
It has like a whole lot of melodic vocals in it.
I didn't get to that one yet. How was it, Ken?
It was a really good one. It's you tell they've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. It's part of a continuation of the whole concept and story they started on the Valley.
Yeah.
It's basically like a part 2 to that overarching story they had there, and at least half that record has melodic vocals on it.
Yeah, I caught him on. He went on Rob Flynn's podcast. And I know he did Josta's podcast too, but he was explaining that, like you said, it's a continuation, and he was kind of going over his own personal story. I guess he had, kind of an abusive stepfather, and mother was a drug addict, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it's about a little bit lyrically.
Yeah, like I always like it's like I don't always pay attention to lyrics as much on a lot of albums, but when it does have a really strong story or a lot of meaning behind the lyrics, it does like enhance the song that much more to know like the inspiration that came behind the record.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. So I came across you on TikTok. Actually, I'm not like a huge TikToker. I'm trying to dabble into it more because of the show, so. Yeah. I'm trying out different hashtags, stuff like that. When did you start getting the TikTok presence?
TikTok, that started, like a lot of people during, I think it was 2021 when I started. Yeah, it was. It was like early 2021. Because I first heard of TikTok like everyone else, and I felt so boomer like everyone else trying to figure out TikTok because I just thought that it was just something that was like aimed at teenagers and was just like something where people do dances on there. But then I saw a few different like influencers and like metal music people on there trying to do other stuff. And I thought with my video reviews, I could do little clips of stuff or small mini reviews on there. And it took a bit figuring out what format I wanted to do for that because you only have like a minute really. They've extended it to 3-minute videos now, but it's kind of hard to figure out what type of information or entertaining stuff I could fit in that time frame. And it was actually pretty cool because it kind of challenged me creatively and figure out my content in a new format
Yeah, for
that could
sure.
fit for TikTok.
Yeah.
And started having some success on there when I found some things that wound up working.
What was one of the things you covered where you saw like, wow, like this video kind of got some traction? Like what kind of review was it, or what was it just in general content wise?
I remember the first thing that caught on a little bit was sort of a funny clip from when I was reviewing the new 6 Feet Under album, like I think it's something Tales of the Decomposed or something. I believe it came out earlier this year, where I was kind of making fun of Chris Barnes's vocals on that album, or like, which it wasn't too. I made like a little bit of a joke on it where it said he would sound like he was like a zombie deep throating a pork sword or something, kind of line like that in the video. And that one tended to caught on. Those like little bits of humor or funny clips that I inserted from my main videos works well for a little clip on TikTok.
Yeah. So speaking of Chris Barnes, so as far as Cannibal Corpse goes, are you a Chris Barnes guy or a Corpse Grinder guy?
I'd say that I'm a Corpse Grinder guy. Because I do like Corpse Grinder more as a vocalist, and like I got into Cannibal Corpse during the Corpse Grinder era.
Yeah.
But you can't knock Chris Barnes as being like a pioneer of like death metal, and of course the quality of the classic Cannibal Corpse records.
Yeah.
A lot of my favorite Cannibal Corpse songs are during the Chris Barnes era. Like you have the whole, of course, like you have the big one, Hammer Smash Face, and like all the different ones, Eaten Back to Life. All those first 4 records were like for classics of death metal.
For sure.
So you can't really knock Chris Barnes either.
Yeah, I like you. I'm more of a Corpse Grinder kind of guy. Like the Chris Barnes vocals, especially for back when they were recording them. It's dude, I can't get into it because it sounds like the microphone is like directly like in his mouth. Like you can't make out anything. Like like the guitars sound really good and it's moving and stuff. And then you get to the vocals, it's like and I'm like, I can't get it. But when Corpse Grinder came along, it was a good move for them. I think it was.
It's definitely good. It worked out for the best for them for sure.
Yeah.
And like the Corpse Grinder platform to be well known, and Chris Barnes wound up doing just fine with his 6 Feet Under band.
Yeah, no, they're killer. I like the 6 Feet Under stuff, and like I was saying, as the recording technology has gotten better over the years, I found that like his vocals, they come across a lot better than how they were with the early Cannibal Corpse stuff. But let's put a bow on 2021. So you're the reviewer. What would you say was the best metal album to come out of the year?
Well, for me personally, the top metal album of the year was actually something that came out towards the end of 2021. That would be the Blood Moon record. That was the collaboration between Converge and Chelsea Wolfe.
Yep.
Like that one was definitely a favorite one because it was kind of an interesting merge of their styles, and also Steven Brodsky, the vocalist and guitarist for Caven, was also part of the songwriting process for that one. And like altogether, they had songs that mixed together the styles really well. It had like you can feel a lot of like the doom metal and gothic metal elements that Chelsea Wolfe had for a lot of it, but you had the.
Help me out. What I'm not familiar with her. Like, what is she famous for? Like, what was she in a band?
No, she started off as a solo, kind of like a dark folk, Southern Gothic artist, doing a lot of acoustic stuff.
Okay.
But then on her later stuff, she wound up doing a lot more like had a little bit of like electronic elements, but still keeping it dark. But then wound up being most well known to the metal world for her doom metal material. Like in 2016, she had an album called His Spun.
Okay.
She collaborates with another multi-instrumentalist. I think his name's Ben Chisholm, and the band called Chelsea Wolfe as well. It's the band's name for has like a lot more doom metal stuff. And His Spun was kind of where they broke through, being well known to the metal world for having like this dark gothic doom metal material.
What did you think about the new Mastodon album?
The new Mastodon album, I did enjoy it a lot. Like, it took me a bit to accept it.
Yeah.
Mastodon's one of my favorite bands, if not my overall favorite band, for sure. I've seen them live, and they're definitely a favorite. Though with this new record, they definitely went, this is the most rock record they've ever done. Has, like, the least metal elements on it, than anything else that they've done. They like, and also with it being a double album, it's like a bit long, and it took me a bit to get into it because it's so proggy and atmospheric, and it's different because it doesn't have a whole lot of like instant hit you in the face riffs like they're normally known for. But once I accepted that this is a rock record and not a metal record per se, like I wound up finding a lot of things to like about it. Of course, the singles that were on it, like Tearjerker and like Pushing the Tides and all that were good. It also has a lot of cool melodic elements and rock elements to it. It's not my favorite Mastodon record, but it still was a quality one.
What is your favorite Mastodon record?
My favorite Mastodon record's probably Once More Round the Sun.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that one's like tends to be a favorite. I feel like that was when they first got their first handle on well, it's not the first one, but they really had a handle on the balance of their heaviness and their melodic stuff on that record. It has, like, as far as individual songs, it has a lot of my favorites on there, like has The Motherlode, which is one of their biggest ones. I love Ron Daler, the drummer's voice, a whole lot. Like, he has a great melodic, like, high tenor soaring voice for a lot of their material. And High Road, which is a nice heavy grooving sludge metal track that has a riff that's instantly memorable.
Yeah, really good harmonies on that one too for the chorus.
Yeah, like they do the whole like voice mixing well. Like the song's really hooky and big while still having a lot of like strong riffs behind them.
Yeah.
And that one's closely followed by Crack the Sky as my second favorite. Record.
Yeah, Crack the Sky is probably my favorite one. Just I'm 31 years old, so when that one kind of came out, I was in I was kind of like in my heyday, like metal wise, and like there's just some really great tracks on it. The Last Baron. What was the second track off that album? It was kind of short, like it's like this 3-minute song.
Had like Divinations.
Yes. That's the one. Yeah. But they're a really interesting band because they've definitely transformed a lot. They had that first album with March of the Fire Ants where very, I would say, like distorted vocals, a lot of screaming, and then they've become more progressive, and then like you said, now they kind of more a rock band, and vocally too, like you said, you can speak more to this being a singer that drums also, but Brand Daler, he is probably the best vocalist in that band, in my opinion. But
I agree.
Yeah, but it's probably doing it live and singing. It's probably super hard, so that is probably why he's not on it so much.
Yeah, he's well, Crack the Sky. He was just getting his feet wet with the vocals on that one. He's become a lot more comfortable with it now. Like kind of the de facto lead vocalist of Mastodon is probably Troy Sanders, the bassist. Because he has the most like balanced voice because he got the rasp that works for verses and choruses. But Bron Daler's been a lot more involved with it too. He definitely has the most probably like technically proficient voice out of everybody, which makes him really good for like the big choruses and all that.
Yeah. And
I've seen live videos of him, and he does like it's not as strong of a vocalist live because he's doing all this crazy drum stuff on top of trying to sing. But he's gotten a lot better in more recent live videos I've seen of them.
Yeah,
they do a good job of mixing it all together.
Yeah, and they've really like Brent Hines. He only sang on what 2 or 3 of the tracks in the new album.
Yeah, he only sang on 1 or 2, but I did hear on an interview on the Justin Show, he actually held back a lot of his songs that he was doing on this one because he only sings lead on 1 track on the new album. And he's mostly saving all of his material for the collab record he's doing with Matt Pike from High on Fire and Sleep that he's doing. That's supposed to come out later this year. So that's what he's saving a lot of his songwriting contributions for, apparently.
All right, cool. So, 2021, the new Limp Bizkit album. What'd you think?
Limp Bizkit. That one was pretty. It was an interesting record. Like I give them props for experimenting for the new record, for being a band like that's been around so long, and this being a comeback album, a second comeback album, because their last one, Gold Cobra, was a comeback album in itself. And I found the new one enjoyable, though I think I might have liked their previous one, Gold Cobra, a bit better. This one, the opening 3 tracks are like classic Limp Bizkit, got the crazy riffs and like Fred Durst doing his like energetic, goofy rapping style that
Yeah.
he does. And then they had like a lot of acoustic songs on this one that they tried to do. They had some pure hip hop tracks with Fred Durst and DJ Lethal helming like those. It sounded like old '90s hip hop, which were interesting. They had a lot of variety on the record, and it was an enjoyable one overall. I did a review of that one on the channel as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it was pretty solid, though might be a little off-putting for the classic Limp Bizkit fans that went just the front to back, like high energy kind of party rap rock record. But
Yeah. Are you a fan of them in general?
I am a fan of them in general. Like,
Yeah.
I do enjoy Limp Bizkit. Like,
Dude.
if you're able to like, and just if you don't take music too seriously, you're able to just like enjoy their stuff a lot more, because not every album has to be like super deep or super serious. Like metal can have its like dumb fun as well. And as far as like the instrumentalists in that band, they're amongst like the most talented, especially in that new metal era. Like, because that unit of Sam Rivers, John Otto, and Wes Borland are some of the best instrumentalists from that new metal era for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the front man is Fred Durst, but I mean, as far as music that's driving that band, Wes Borland, like you said, he's an incredible musician, dude. Like, he has them. He's in Limp Bizkit. He has 2 or 3 other side projects that he's done. I mean, like some of his guitar effects. Like, he's an incredible musician. And in general, just like you, I'm a fan of Limp Bizkit. You know, I grew up in the new metal era. You know, you got your Deftones, Slipknot, Korn, stuff like that. But I've always loved Limp Bizkit, and so many people like they shit on them. But like you said, like you have to take it for what it is. You know, they have a song called Nookie. Like, you know, it's not going to be like Led Zeppelin composership. You know what I mean? But I mean, they're always catchy. They're heavy. They mix in good hip hop. Like, they're solid, dude. Like, I don't know why people kill them so much.
They're definitely underrated. Well, I don't know. It's like, well, I'm not sure if underrated term, but they are like a lot better than people give.
They're the new metal. They're the new metal Creed. They're the new metal Creed. Like, I love Creed too. People shit on Creed, but it's like, dude, have you ever sat down and listened to an album? You know what I mean?
Like people didn't give Creed enough credit, because like Creed is another one. Like I think they've like at least the instrumentalists in Creed get a lot more respect now, being in Alter Bridge.
Yeah.
And like Mark Tremonti, especially as a guitarist, is like one of the better ones of like hard rock and heavy metal. Like, he has a whole lot of skill, and his new solo record that came out this last year, I think it's his 3rd solo Tremonti record, was excellent. Where he shows a lot of his songwriting ability and guitar work on that one, where he goes real heavy.
Yeah, he's
But
nuts,
Creed,
dude. Like,
really good.
he drops it low too. Like, he's down there with the tunings and
like-
stuff.
Like, I was surprised when I heard his like new Tremonti record, because it was just like riffs out the gate that are like heavy, low, and strong, and like a whole lot of power to them. But Creed had their heavy stuff too. They had like songs like Bullets, and the whole other ones on the Weathered album were on the heavier side.
Yeah.
People just couldn't really get over Scott Stapp and the whole like Eddie Vedder-esque like gnarling that he does.
Which I get it. Like, he was kind of a prima donna too. So, you know, people are put off by it, and they're probably rich as fuck. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have you're in a band, StormToker, which I checked out some of your guys' stuff. Really solid, man. Your newest single was killer. It's about the working man. You know, got nice and slow, and then you hit it with the heavy stuff. You guys are obviously influenced by Sleep and High on Fire, right?
Yes, there's definitely. Well, interesting enough, like I think I'm the only one in the band that listens to much Sleep. But everybody in the band loves High on Fire, though. Like, I remember, like, I always kind of compared us to them, mixing like sludgy riffs with like a little bit of thrash and speed into it. Yeah, we do have a lot of that influence going on. And Poor Man's Doom was an interesting one. That was the latest single, Poor Man's Doom, because that was the first time we put anything that's kind of like country-esque into our songs. That was our guitarist, Anthony. He's like real big into country and folk and listened to a lot of that. And when he first came to us with the like folksy country riff, we were like, okay, not sure how we're gonna make that one work, but
you did.
wound up doing it. Yeah, we made it work, and he had the heavy riff on with that. He pretty much wrote all the guitar instrumentation for it. And when he came in with the heavy riff section of it, I was like, I got something for this. So I wrote the lyrics for the heavy part, and that wound up being like a real strong song that people seem to be liking really well.
When did you guys start going at it? What year?
We first started. We first had the idea to form the band New Year's 2017, actually. So I guess it's been like it's like 5-year anniversary since we first decided to form, just like yesterday. But our first show that we played was in June of 2018. Was our first one.
Okay. How'd it go? Were you guys tight?
It was like well, we had some equipment issues, like our bass's like amp kept going in and out with electrical issues, but went real well. It was a packed show because we still had like we played with other good local bands from the area, and we still had a whole lot of bands and stuff from our previous projects that we've done. The other two guys were in a thrash metal band together for 10 years called Theories of the Apocalypse, and I was in a kind of grunge alt-rock band called Zen Highway before StormToker, and so we had a lot of like a fan base to come for that, and that show went real well. It packed out the venue. We got a whole lot of good shots and video from that one, so it went real well, especially for a band's first show.
Nice. So what's it? I mean, I'm up here in New York, so obviously I have no idea about what's going on in Kentucky. What city are you guys at, and what's the scene like in general?
We're from Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
It's right in the center of the state, second biggest city in Kentucky behind Louisville. And it's where like the University of Kentucky is located at. So it's like it's pretty sizable. It's like a mid-sized city. So it's like got a nice mixture of like city stuff. There's a nightlife and bars and music and all that, but it's also got enough rural stuff around so where it doesn't feel overbearing. And as far as the music scene, it's interesting. Like we have like a whole lot of stuff. There's of course a lot of country and a lot of cover bands that are around, but as far as like loud music, there's a very large punk scene like in the city. It's real strong. We have a lot of venues that cater to that, as well as metal. We kind of have like our whole Lexington scene. We have like a couple of bands like between like us and there's like some death metal acts in Central Kentucky and Louisville as well. We kind of have like our scenes together, and we like share shows like from the two cities a lot. And it's a pretty solid scene. We've had like some good bands come out of here. Like the biggest band to come out of Kentucky recently, you might know, it's Knocked Loose.
Yeah.
Like who came out of close to the Louisville area. And we had some other ones like Omarosa's came from Lexington originally, if you're familiar with them. So we had some acts that came out of Kentucky from the hard rock and metal scene. And right now the scene's like pretty solid. We have like some venues that support it, and we have a lot of underrated, interesting acts that come out of here.
So shout out some of the big venues over there. Like, what are some really popular bars that support metal, just concert halls? Like, shout them out.
Well, in Lexington, we have the Green Lantern Bar. Is like one that was where we played our first show at. The Green Lantern. There's Al's Bar of Lexington. Also plays a lot of like loud music and a variety of other ones. We used to have a place called Cosmic Charlie's, which had a whole lot of international acts that come through as well as playing local acts. But that one sadly went under last year due to the pandemic. A big venue, so like 1,000 cap one is Manchester Music Hall.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of big name acts there. I've seen like Cannibal Corpse play there, Hatebreed, Shadow's Fall, a lot of big names. And like coming in March, we have Cattle Decapitation playing there like this year and later. And that's like the biggest one. Of course, like it's Rupp Arena. That's like for the big headline.
Yeah.
When they can do arenas. But
Yeah, I saw on YouTube when I was doing my research, I saw you guys played the Manchester venue.
Yeah, we opened for Atreyu at that one.
Oh, nice.
Which is an interesting show to get on.
What year was that?
That was in 2019.
Okay.
2019 we played with Atreyu.
How were they?
Like one of the last. They were good. Like,
did you personally? Did you get to like talk to them? Were they cool? Were they dicks? Like, did you even say hello?
We did not get to talk to them.
No.
Oh, there was the bassist. Like we did, my bassist got to talk to their bassist for a bit, which I think is like he's the newest guy in the band, so he's not as ingrained with them as well. And this sort of he like watched our set and liked it. He called us said that we sounded like a punk rock Primus, which was interesting comparison to make.
Yeah.
But that one went real well. Of course, we like got there, and it was like most times you open up for a big show, it's like a hurry up and wait thing. We didn't get to talk to them like throughout that show, but like we did get to see them and open up for them, and it was a real fun show. They put it on a great performance. and it was one of the last tours they did where they still had Alex, their screaming vocalist, as their frontman.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of a weird band because, of course, they came along with the metalcore stuff, right? But they kind of, if you were a chick and you liked metalcore, you liked Atreyu. A lot of dudes kind of are like, oh, Atreyu, they got no balls, blah blah blah. But I think they're solid. I like a lot of their stuff. They you could definitely mark the point where they became more poppy, but some of those first albums are super heavy, or like really good stuff.
Oh, yeah, those first 3 records, I love those first 3 Atreyu records. They were like kind of that first. They were like the first big band of that whole Warped Tour metalcore scene.
Yeah.
Where it had a lot of like more emo elements and post-hardcore elements. And usually I'm not too into the scene-core sound and things like that, but they had enough of like the same influences as like the more metal of the metalcore bands like the Killswitch and As I Done, because they were drawing as much from the Swedish like death metal, melodic death metal scene as anyone else was. They just added a lot more melody and catchy pop hooks and emo elements into it to make it more accessible for that scene and punk crowd that Warped Tour usually has.
Yeah, it's a nice mixture too with the 2 vocalists. Like it definitely brings a little something different to the table.
Yeah, they were one of the first bands I got into that got me into the whole multi-vocalist thing that we also have now in StormToker. Because we had I remember like back in the day, I'm the same age as you, I'm 31. So
nice.
I grew up with like Linkin Park, and every other like dual vocalist band, Mastodons, you got Seven Dust, who has a drummer as like a screaming backing vocalist, and I always like that multi-vocal aesthetic. It makes it where you can do a whole lot of different sounds and elements with it.
So yeah, there's more than you think, guys who drum and sing. Who are some of your bigger influences, drummer-wise?
Well, Bron Daler, of course, is a favorite for Mastodon. There's also he doesn't do drums and vocals anymore, but Jamie Morgan from Code Orange, like he's they're a newer band that's been blowing up recently. They've been on tour with Slipknot.
Oh yeah, they're huge. They're huge right now.
Yeah, Jamie Morgan's another one. There was, of course, there's the drummer from Seven Dust, Morgan for Seven Dust. He's super talented drummer and a solid vocalist as well. And there's a couple like other ones.
Don't forget Phil Collins.
Phil Collins, yeah. Phil Collins, like he's just talented at everything that he does. Like he can sing, he can play guitar, he can songwrite, play drums. Like there's some people that just have too many skills and talents.
Yeah.
Like just share some of that with the rest of us.
Yeah. Where R.I.P. Joey Jordison, was he a big influence of yours?
Sorry about that. The sound went out. Yeah, like Joey Jordison was another one of my favorites. Slipknot was during high school. That was like one of my top favorite bands, and like Joey Jordison was a huge part of that.
Yeah,
sure.
They changed the game, man. I remember watching the Disaster Pieces DVD where he was all strapped in, and they had him, on the platform, and they were going sideways and back and forth, and then he started spinning upside down. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's bringing that whole it's basically like as arena metal as it gets when you have the drummer on a platform that has to do all those hydraulics and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some of your favorite bands right now?
Right now, Gojira is like definitely one of the favorites. Like they're one that's also collectively with my band, like all of us like. So I have like other favorites. There's like a couple of ones that I've been liking, new ones. As far as some on the more rock side, 12 Foot Ninja, I really got into their newest record. They're kind of like a Jinty, Faith No More, sort of, which is a pretty interesting mixture of sounds, pretty unique. Definitely like Code Orange was another favorite. Their 2 most recent records were my top ones of each year they came out.
Yeah.
Both those. Because like in 2020, they had the Underneath record, which was my favorite that year. In 2017, they had their Forever record, which broke through, which is my favorite of that one as well. And there's like a good number of ones out like that are like
Knocked Loose. You mentioned Knocked Loose.
Knocked Loose, yeah. It took me a bit to get into Knocked Loose.
They're weird, man. It's a little different because basically musically the whole thing's a breakdown, and then the vocalist does not have what you would call your typical metal kind of scream to him. It's a lot more punky than you would think.
It's a lot more shrill. Like
Yes,
really, like,
that's the word, shrill.
I remember it didn't really get took me a bit to get into because that was an adjustment getting used to that kind of voice. Instrumentally, I always liked their stuff, but once I got used to the voice, it's interesting because it's a little more intelligible than most stuff, and I think his lyrics are actually really strong. Like he has like a whole lot of like depth to it. It's not just your typical hardcore anger and aggression type stuff.
Yeah.
It's usually a whole lot of introspection that he has in his lyrics, and like their EP they came out with this past year was like a nice concept record about like dealing with like loss and depression, just on a really heavy record like surrounding that.
Yeah. So on the show, it's called Headbangers at the Hangar. So we talk mostly music. I also am a huge fan of the alien UFO stuff. So the title Headbangers at the Hangar, it's kind of a tribute to the song Hangar 18 by Megadeth because it dives into like the Bob Lazar stuff. Okay, I find the two usually go hand in hand, metal and aliens. If you like one, you usually believe in the other. What are your own personal opinions about all the alien stuff that's going on these days?
It seems like aliens have been in a lot more like conversation. Seems like in the past like year or two, where it seems like the Pentagon and NASA it seem like they're trying to like ease in a like reveal that like there's aliens and we know about them. Like I do think that there's definitely the chances of there not being aliens is like it's too ridiculous that there's definitely aliens.
Yeah.
As far as if actually like visited Earth or not, I'm not 100% on, but I feel like that if they were to come to Earth, I feel like it'd probably be in the form of like probes and stuff, similar to how we would like probably do it, just trying to observe and like figure stuff out about like formed life and foreign planets. But it's interesting if there are like aliens that are already amongst us, like if they have any sort of similar atmosphere or stuff to us, it could already be among us and we wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Yep. Do you remember when the Aerials music video came out, the System of a Down song? Yeah, that tripped me out back then. We were not that old, right? How old do you think we were back then?
Like 2001. So
yeah. I remember like the faces. It was super scary as a little kid, but like it was really cool. Like I wanted to know more, you know.
Yeah, it's like a whole lot of interesting stuff with it because like life on other planets, that would be something. If we've ever had it like confirmed, that would throw like all of human society into for a loop.
Yeah, I think you're onto something and I say this a lot too. It's like it's kind of the trickle effect right now, where I think behind the scenes enough is kind of building. Like enough people who are important kind of know something's up. So it's like you were saying, like look at how the COVID thing has completely made people crazy. Like when you just throw something at society, like it doesn't go over well. So it's a lot easier to be like, okay, the Pentagon says, well, we might have unknown craft, and then we say, okay, we confirm that we have craft not of this world, and then it's like slowly it's going to become like, we may have found a foot or a bone or blah blah blah. Then eventually it'll get to the point where, you know, maybe 20 30 years from now, where it's like, okay, here's the full body, here it is, and by that point, people will be like, okay, duh, like we've already known, you know? And so that way there's not crazy hysteria.
Yeah. Because we've already seen like what something that affects the whole world has already done in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So throwing another loop like aliens into the mix, that would just create even more chaos. And who knows like what the result of that could be.
Yeah, so gun to your head, right? So the Pentagon they've admitted like, okay, we have UFOs out there. We do not know what it is. Now, what is your official answer when I ask you what's up there? Is it U.S. that's just covering up, China, Russia, actual aliens? What do you think's up in those spaceships?
That could be I feel like officially it's hard to know because, like, of course, we all have.
Yeah, your official guess.
But my official guess, it's probably like new prototype technology from governments that it's probably be better for them to like have people think that it's like UFOs or aliens.
Yeah.
Because it probably might get in trouble with other countries if they're developing some sort of new, stronger weapons and testing them out. But that they're just like, you know what, let's let the people think that it's aliens.
Yeah.
Or like foreign bodies, because like they might get into some like earthbound trouble with like other nations or dealing something that could be potentially really dangerous.
Yeah. All right, man. We're about to wrap it up. Before we go, give the listeners, tell us 3 albums that you might not know about, but you should really check out from the year 2021.
Definitely. See, one of my top ones that haven't been getting enough attention, going more on a metalcore tangent, is Employed to Serve. Their new album, Conquering, is one that people should definitely check out. They are a metallic hardcore band from England. On their new record, they mix in a lot of elements from bands like Machine Head, Exodus, Testament, on top of the hardcore. So it's got the moshy energy while also being like heavy and groovy on top of that. Another one that people should check out that's lesser known is by a band called Alluvial, called Sarcoma. The guitarist for that band, Wes Houck, used to be in bands like The Faceless and Black Crown Initiate. It's a very technical, progressive death metal album. It's like lots of great guitar work. So if you're like a big guitar guy or big guitar nerd, you'll definitely love the riff work there. The vocalist that they have was the one that was touring with Suffocation for the past couple of years. Like that's a real like strong, unique record if you're into the more death metal territory. And something else that's a little more on the melodic side of things. Let's see which one here. I got my like top list here that I have.
All right, I like it.
I'm pulling it up. I just saw for something that's a little more melodic, there's the band Bola. Gonna have an album called Witness, and that one, they are from Sweden or Sweden or Norway, one of the Nordic countries, and they're also on the progressive side. They kind of mix together a sort of like 70s and 80s progressive rock vibe, but with heavy kind of gent guitars and a lot of melodic vocals over it. Some electronica elements into it too.
Okay.
It's a very heavy, groovy record, but really accessible. And they're definitely one of the more interesting, engaging bands that I've heard in like recent years. Like all of their albums that I've heard from them are like top notch, and definitely something that for fans of like more proggy stuff should definitely check out.
All right, cool, man. So just plug yourself. Where can people find stuff about your band? Where can they find you on TikTok, Instagram? Let us know where they could check you out.
Well, for my YouTube, for the album reviews, that is at the Heavy Haystack on YouTube. It's also the same thing for like the Heavy Haystack on Instagram, Heavy Haystack on Twitter as well. As far as StormToker, you can find us on Bandcamp, the StormToker.bandcamp.com. We're on YouTube, all your favorite streaming services.
Spotify.
We are dropping Spotify, Apple Music, all those. And we are releasing a new cover near the end of January, on January 21st. We're releasing a cover of Clutch's Space Grass.
Nice.
That will be like going out, and we're going to the studio in April to finish our third record called The Mother Tree. You can find like all our stuff at facebook.com/StormToker, like similar to the shirt that I got on now.
Yeah.
Instagram, StormToker Official. And you can find all of our stuff streaming everywhere.
All right, dude. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day.